you know, I was so influenced by the films of the 70s and the 60s and the 70s. You know, the great filmmakers like Antonioni and Fellini and Buñuel and all these, and we just don't have those films anymore. And we were films that asked a lot of questions, where you left feeling emotionally satisfied, but you didn't have all the answers. And today we like to have everything underlined in bold and caps, and then repeated 3 or 4 times in the film so people understand it. And so I wanted to make one of those films where you have to go out, you have to watch the film with your friends and go out on the sidewalk afterwards and say, what the hell was that about? And somebody says, it was this and this, and you argue about it but you want to have an emotional reaction and then figure it out with your friends.
I guess everything has been a surprise, because it was about 5 years ago that I I only suggested Holocaust movies just because I'm Jewish and I thought I could play one of the roles, but just try to find a character for myself and just act. But Paul was very encouraging to try to find what I want to write about or discuss, and that process really encouraged me to ask really serious questions, because he wouldn't just stop in asking, okay, tell me about this relationship. He would ask, why does that bother you? Even in somebody else's relationship, why does that bother you? Because it's all a projection and reflects what you don't like about yourself. If there's something that I was judging about other people. So every time the process became more and more of a reality, it was a surprise to me. Like, we're actually gonna make this movie. Oh my, there's a script. I'm gonna be. I'm in the Academy Award place here with real members and I'm from Haifa, and everything was a surprise, and every day working with an incredible group of talent, and then there was another incredible process for me, was to discover and create a character. And that took a while, and I discovered a lot of things about being a gypsy, being a rejected character in a country that women are very much adored. But as a gypsy, you're treated really like dirt. And to get to that specificity and rejection took a certain effort, and they were all very supportive. I mean, scared that I would go to that extent, but very supportive to find those nuances and how that felt.
Here I wanted to, I'm going to start with the title, third person. I love the idea that Liam's character journaled in the third person, and they talked about themselves in the third person. He thought he was distancing himself from his own feelings, even in his journal. And exploring that, and that level of denial that a man like him could have, that he is trying to write, and I experienced this, trying to write about these characters, and the characters keep trying to take you somewhere else, and you keep saying, get back here, until the characters, in his case, finally, literally physically take him to what he's been trying to deny this entire time, this terrible guilt he's been feeling, that he's trying to work out through the characters. And to trying to find the way that the characters kept repeating themselves, from one story to the next, how one line of dialogue could come up here and there. And it's really interesting because there's so many of those repeated lines in the movie, but people don't notice them because the actors are so good that they each give them their own, like, all the girls say, "Watch me" at some point or other. There's all the various other lines that are just repeated all the way through in order to give you a hint at what's going on, because I like playing with genres. I did within the Valley of Ella. I was going to say, okay, this is a murder mystery. Relax. It's a murder mystery. It's going to follow the conventions of murder mysteries. This Tommy Lee Jones character is going to get to the truth. He's going to fight everybody else. He's going to be right in the end. That's the conventions of murder mysteries. And get to Act 2 and go, oh, I was kidding. It's not a murder mystery. It's a moral mystery. And so suddenly the people just rush up and hand him the answers, which he, of course, rejects. So here I wanted to say, okay, relax. It's just 3 love stories. But then very quickly into this piece, things start happening that cannot physically happen. And so many people, it's really interesting, just don't notice it. We were trying so obvious, we thought it was so obvious, but just people, I mean, I bet you didn't see a lot of these things because you don't. You have to see it 2 and 3 times just to notice it, even though we thought it was obvious in the editing. For example, when you're in Bar Americano, an old man walks in the door, Adrian's character looks out the door. A Mercedes passes with a woman in the back of the seat. That's Olivia Wilde. And the next thing you see is her putting on her makeup, getting dressed, and she's in Paris. Then they're walking down the street. Liam and Olivia are walking down the street. The first thing he's done, he's standing in a gallery. He's looking at a painting. People, oh, and there's a name on the bottom of whose that is. And people walk on, and almost no one noticed that painting shows up again in Rick's loft. That's Rick's painting. And so I wanted to say, this is how he's getting the ideas to rewrite not only the stories, but his life. And until finally something happens that just you cannot. It's very funny. Some critics said, "Oh, it's a terrible movie. It was a good movie, but they have to somehow fix the continuity in this because Mila Kunis's character, honest to God, is suddenly in one country and then she's in the next, like as if we didn't notice." And that's purposely why I put this thing in 3 completely different cities. There was no way. And for a while, when we were trying to figure out how to shoot this, many people came to us and said, "We can finance this if we shoot it all in one city. Can you rewrite them all for one city?" And I went, "Well, yeah, but then people might get confused in a bad way. I wanted you to be confused in a good way. Is if you're in the same city, they might actually be able to intersect. I wanted to make a story in which it's impossible for them to intersect, and yet you figure out what's going on."